What's going on, guys? So hey, I found the Maitake mushroom, or what some people call hen of the woods, and we're going to talk about not only how to identify it and take a look at it right here, but we're going to take it back to the house, clean it. We're going to get really in depth on that. We're also going to talk about how to cook this sucker. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Okay, there it is. I mean, this is just a fantastic mushroom. This is my favorite mushroom, hands down. I mean, it is just wonderful, especially as far as the health benefits go for this mushroom is just phenomenal. I mean, all the polysaccharides that this guy holds, as well as it's been used to treat hepatitis, what else? So high blood pressure, chronic fatigue syndrome, HIV. I mean, it is just loaded with health benefits. Plus the polysaccharides that are in it, and the like the beta glucans and the diffraction. I mean, there's just a ton of good health benefits. And we'll probably take this guy right here, and I'll show you how I use it anyway. But before we go any further, you need to continue to look around the tree, and that's exactly what I did. And if we look over here, look at this. There's another one popping out right there. And this guy right here is super young. You can see that. Obviously, I think it's a part of this one. Might get a little bit off of this guy right here. Clearly not as big, so that's a young specimen. But you can see it is continuing to grow. That's fantastic. Wonderful. And it's also, if you'll notice, the color is different. This one is a lot lighter than the other one that's over here. You know, this one has more of a brownish tint to it. So their colors do vary, and they vary depending on the age of the mushroom. Most of the time, I think when they're young like that right there, they tend to be a lot, I don't know, kind of a brownish color. But as they get older, sometimes they'll lighten up just like that right there. Let's keep going though. I'll show you something else. Go all the way around the tree. I can't stress this enough. And bam, right there. Look at that. Beautiful. Now that is a perfect specimen as far as edibility goes. That's the size we're looking for. You can see the fronds are real small. It's still going to be moist to the touch. Beautiful mushroom. Fantastic. All right, let's get back over here. Look at that. All right. I keep from falling on the mushroom. That wouldn't be good. Wonderful. It is still moist though. Nice and cool. It's not dried out at all, which, you know, is ideal. So, like I said, we are going to harvest this guy, take him back to the house, and I will show you how I utilize this mushroom. Cool. So real quick, before we harvest this, I broke off a few pieces here. Now this is off of the larger one. You can take a look at the color of it. But note the pores. Take a look at that. The pores, you can see, have started to open up. And that's okay. I mean, you still can utilize this mushroom even with the pores being open like that. See, they're starting to get a lot larger, so to speak. Now let's take a look at the younger one. Okay, now when we look at this guy, pores are super tight. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that, you know, this is really good for edibility. It just really is. And look at the color. You can see the color difference. This one's a lot darker. The younger one is. So very cool. See how tight that is? The camera will focus. Very tight. Nice, and it almost looks smooth. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so to harvest this guy, all we're going to do is run our knife directly under the base. Right under the base. This mushroom grows in one central location. And I believe what we've got here are two different specimens that have kind of just merged into one. So I would imagine there's probably going to be a kind of a, lack of better words, there's a base over here and then one over here. I'm going to take my knife and just run it directly under. I even try to lift up a little bit if I can, so I can get underneath there. All right, maybe a little bit difficult because I believe these two are together. Let's see what we got over there. Here we go. I think I got that. There we go. All right. Okay, and if you look, you can see the two different, one here and one there, but that's how they grow. They grow out of one central location. So you kind of have to raise up the mushroom and, you know, slide your knife underneath there. Sometimes it can be a challenge to get these guys. So when I said these mushrooms can get quite large, this one's actually probably close to 10 pounds. I mean, it's pretty heavy. Let me flip it over and let you take a look at the underside. Okay, so you can see we've got an all white polypore. Fairly large mushroom here. We've got sticks, obviously, and debris growing in here. With it being a polypore, it just tends to do that, you know, just kind of surrounds everything that comes in contact with. I mean, leaves are, you can see right here, leaves are part of it. Right in here, we're going to pay particularly close attention to when we go and clean this guy up. But typically you don't want to turn him upside down like I've done, because what that does is all of the dirt and debris just kind of falls in between all these folds and holes and all this. It just makes it a lot more difficult. But for the purpose of this video, I did want to show you, you know, exactly what it looks like underneath. Okay, so another challenge is you got to make sure your mushroom bag is large enough. Okay, and I've got a pretty large mushroom bag, but you can see this guy is, you know, a lot bigger, so I'm gonna have to probably break him up a little bit. I may try to get it all in there in one piece, but you gotta have, if you don't have a very large one, at least have 2 or 3 when you're hen hunting, because you just never know. You can run into these trees and not just find 2 or 3 mushrooms. Sometimes you can find as many as, you know, 5 or 6. So anyway, have some mushroom bags. Okay, this young one right here, I'm gonna harvest it as well. You know, you can also find this mushroom in the cities. This can be an urban mushroom in the fall, so it's something to consider if you don't live near a forest. However, with that being said, you really want to be careful, especially in these parks and things of that nature, because you don't know what type of chemicals you know, the Parks and Recreation are using, especially if there's grass close by, or using on those lawns, and you certainly don't want to get any of those chemicals. The mushroom could probably extract some of those. I don't know that to be a fact. It just makes sense to me. I would just stay away from any areas where you know that chemicals are being put down on lawns. But you can find this mushroom in the city. Just look around the large oaks. That's typically where you're going to find them. Look right at the base, anywhere from September to November in that area, and you may be successful. Okay, see what I mean? You got to have 2 bags, or it really makes it difficult to hike, and you fill your bag up, and you don't want to leave any other specimens on the ground, especially if they're choice and ready to go. So got to have 2 bags when you're out looking for those hens. Okay, so to clean this, all we have to do is fill our sink full of water, and then you take the smallest of the mushrooms that you found and basically dunk it a few times. Rinse it off thoroughly. You're picking off any of that dirt and debris. You want to do this probably anywhere from 2 to 3 times. You know, fully submerge this mushroom. This is one that you got to get wet. And then you're just going to break off small fronds. Now, when it comes to the larger mushrooms, they can be a real challenge to fit in the sink, so you may have to break it apart. But once you get it in there, you're gonna definitely soak this thing 2 or 3 times, drain the water, then start the process all over again. And then you're just picking off any dirt and debris. Most of the bugs or anything that's hidden like that should come off once you submerge it. Okay, so once the mushroom's clean, what you're gonna do is start pulling off some of these fronds and just basically work your way to the core. And at some point, you will need a knife. So you just get that knife out, cut the fronds off, leave that core. That's what we're trying to protect. And anyway, there's a lot of good mushroom in that. This is what you're left with. You've taken off all of the fronds and all the branches that basically, for lack of better words, that come off of this thing. And you're left with this. Well, this mushroom is 100% edible. You don't want to throw away this. And this also tends to be pretty gnarly in terms of picking up debris, bark, dirt, what have you, even rocks. You've heard me mention that before, where it's coming out of the ground. polypores will basically, when they're growing, they will engulf whatever is around them, and they'll pick them up and continue as they grow. So we could find some stones in here. Right here's where we actually cut it, and you can see that right through there. It looks pretty good. I do see some areas that I definitely need to cut out. A lot of dirt through here and bark, it looks like, that I need to take out. So don't throw this away. Good stuff. You can stake this up and actually use it for like mushroom burgers. It's fantastic. Okay, so we've got it cleaned up. You don't want to spend too much time doing that because we're just going to take it right now and start slicing it just like this into, I would say, I don't know, roughly 1/4 inch. And just come straight through just like this. Maybe a little bit thinner than 1/4. Anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4. But you can see this is really a great way to utilize this mushroom for burgers. And as you get closer to the end here, it becomes a little bit harder because you can see the shape of it changes, obviously. So, but I'm going to continue with this. We're just going to continue to cut it up, chunk it up if we have to. I think that's about all I'm going to be able to get out of this without it falling apart on me. So, awesome. Now we've got pieces that are like this, all right? Nice size to grill or to saute. We're going to come around and cut off any of the bad spots. That's why I was saying you don't want to spend too much time on when it's in one big large piece, because you're going to trim up the edges after you slice it anyway. Okay, so we've saved the core, we've cleaned the mushroom, we've gotten all the fronds off of it. Now basically what we're going to do is start a soup stock. We're going to take the majority of the fronds on the older mushroom that I harvested, and we're just going to put them in 2 pots here and let her go for about 2 hours. Now, this is going to be a super light simmer. Don't want to bring this to a hard boil or anything like that. Just a light simmer and you should be good to go. Okay, so after the mushrooms have simmered for roughly 2 hours, it's time to strain it. All we're going to do is just strain this right out. We're going to save all of that good medicinal hot water extraction for a soup stock, basically. So we can add this to our soups later on in the winter months. We're going to go ahead and put them in a freezer bags and then put them away for later use. So anyway, just another way to use this mushroom. Okay, so after the mushrooms have simmered, what I like to do is once we strain it and we've captured all that soup stock and we've bagged that up, then I go ahead and saute the leftover mushrooms. Just do it with a little garlic, a little butter, and you should be good to go. Then stick those in the freezer bags as well. This mushroom really doesn't last long in my house, so it's okay just to put them in freezer bags and rock and roll. Now, I don't really recommend freezing these guys without sauteing them first. I mean, I've done it both ways. Sauteed first and then freeze them. Far superior than the other way. Last a little bit longer as well. Okay, so let me say this. If you are a diabetic or have high blood pressure, I would say please consult your doctor before really fooling with this mushroom. The medicinal value in this mushroom is tremendous, especially when it comes to high blood pressure and diabetes. It's known for lowering sugar levels. And it's known for lowering the blood pressure. If you are already on medication and then you eat this mushroom or some of the hot water extract, I could see possibly complications with that. So consult a doctor first. Okay, with that being said, if you're not on any medication and you are interested in the medicinal values, there are a ton. So I would highly encourage you to check out and do some due diligence on this mushroom. I mean, really look into it because it is amazing all the things that this mushroom is used for to treat. So anyway, now obviously the easiest way to cook this really is to get some garlic and butter and saute it. I mean, this is a no-brainer, really. It is fantastic this way. You also can bread this mushroom, though. I would highly encourage you to try that. Bread it and fry it, really good. But for the purpose of this video, we're just really going to saute it real fast. I've got to have some. I mean, it's choice. I love it. Okay, so all we got to do is get a little bit of garlic, a little bit of butter, and then put the mushroom right in. Now, one of the things that it makes it a lot easier to cook, because this is such a meaty mushroom, is to actually take a lid from another pan and put it on top, capture that steam in there. So you're kind of giving it a good steam bath while you're sauteing it. So let me give this a try. Fantastic. I think you guys will really like this. Mouthful. I need some wine. Oh man, that's fantastic. Choice edible. You guys are absolutely gonna love this. If you have not tried it, I certainly encourage you to do so. Now, this mushroom really is a bad mushroom when it comes to the medicinal values, and it is choice. I love the way this mushroom tastes, and I think you will too. Into the woods. Hey, thanks for spending your time with me. I really do appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe and slap that like button. I'll talk to you.